I'm Trace, and I'm going to be showing you a bit about nature drawing. I'm going to show you some things from my new book, Landing with Wings. And my name, just so you remember, it's Trace Balla. So should we have a look? Oh yeah, that'd be good. Okay, what do you got? Well, I've got my new book. Oh, it's lovely, isn't it? Landing with Wings. And so in here today I wanted to show you about when you're doing nature drawing, something that's really interesting that I've got an example of in the book is, so this scene is often in the book, the same scene, and that's in their school, and you can see here the tree that they're sitting under, it's in flower, and that tree is a long-leafed box. So you see I've got a close-up over here of some of it. That's the long-leafed box, and it's in flower. So later on in the story, a little bit later, it's still in flower, and then a little bit later, oops, there's the same tree, and there's no flowers at this time. And you might actually recognize this character Clancy. He's from my other books, River Time and Rock Hopping, and he's sitting up the tree reading one of those books. I really love trees, so it's nice to put them in my stories. And then this book's set over a whole year, so I think by the last one of these, there, it's starting to flower again. So that's something you can do, is to look at something over a period of time and draw it. So Miri, the character in this story, she has a little nature journal, and something that's great about having a nature journal is on this page here, that she got a book and she thought about birds, and she thought, oh, that bird, I'll read it. It says, hey, I think that's a bird I've been seeing around. Let me check my sketchbook. And then she looks in the book and it matches hers. And so she knows which bird it is. So that's a really good thing if you're doing some sketches. It helps you identify what the thing might be that you're sketching. And also, like in this story, she's watching the frogs over a period of time. So here she's saying, as the weeks pass, my sketchbooks fill up with new friends. And that might happen for you guys too, if you get to go outside and draw some things changing, like frogs and tadpoles. Most exciting of all, the tadpoles are growing legs. Now they can move even faster. Look at that. A little bug has a close escape from the tadpole. They must be tasty. So the little bug was spinning on the top of the water and then it flew away. And I'll just show you one more thing in this book. So another thing that you can do is have a look at a whole year of how something lives and what changes over the seasons. So I've structured this story around a whole year of how a frog lives, called the Bibron's toad. So in the start of the year, it starts to call, the males are calling, and then they're starting to be breeding. That's when they're making the babies. And then look, there's some eggs starting to come. And later over here there's the tadpoles, and then they start growing up. So the whole story is set around that. And I've just got, this is about how I made the book. So there's something else here that's interesting, is my favourite way to observe nature is to sketch it. By having a closer look, I see and appreciate so much more. And that's what happens to Miri, the girl in the story. She does the same. She loves to sketch things. And over here you'll see the tools that I'm using. I often use watercolour pencils, and actually, how about I show you what I'm using today? So, I've got a pencil, and alright, actually just before I show you, I might just show you a couple of examples from my own sketchbooks. So sometimes when you're drawing in your sketchbooks, it might just be something that just happened. You can't really draw while you're swimming, can you? So this is a picture while I was swimming with my friends, and it was just such a lovely time. I wanted to remember it. So you might like to do a drawing about a lovely time you had somewhere in nature, just to remember it, and you might stick it near your bed or somewhere around the house to help you remember that lovely outside place. It might be somewhere you went on a holiday, or somewhere in your back garden, or somewhere special to you. Somewhere relaxing is a nice thing to do. You can see I'm very relaxed right there. And look at my boy, he's blowing bubbles doing handstands. And you can see up here that I've been writing on it as well. I love to mix up writing with my pictures. And then this one's very different. This one's while I'm looking. So, and I've drawn about the same size, or maybe a bit bigger than the things that I'm looking at. It says every single beautiful seed pod full of potential. So many, each single seed could grow into a tree. And that's the outside. So I like to write about them. And then over here, this bit's from a memory, we see an amazing snake, maybe a little too close for comfort. And that snake saw me as well, and so I quickly moved away. And you can see I've got my gaiter on here to help protect me in case the snake came too close and wanted to have a nibble on me. Ooh, I hope that didn't happen. No, I was really safe. So, how about I show you my tools now? So first I'll start with a pencil, and why don't I just have a go and I'll show you as I go. So I've chosen something from my garden, and the first thing I do is I'm not going to draw it exact, I don't mind, but I'd like to try and draw some of the different stages. So I just give myself a little guideline of where I'm going to draw. I might put one there, and I might put one there, and then I'm going to have the leaves. And I might be doing it a bit bigger than the one that I can see. And then after I've used my pencil, and I use a pencil that I don't have to sharpen. This one's great. It's got the it's got the lead inside, which is actually quite long normally. And then I've got this excellent pen, which is called a Twisby Go. And I don't have to keep buying pens either. I just fill it up with ink, and I'm using waterproof ink. And then that's like a squeezing thing to get more ink in. But I won't squeeze it, or all the ink will fall onto the page. So I'll just draw a little bit of this. I love how there's different stages. So I can see on this bit, and I'm just going to draw it quickly and relaxed, because I find then if I see that plant again, I'm going to remember it, and I'm also going to appreciate things about it a lot more because I'm having a good look. So there's lovely little bits at the top with all the pollen on them, and it doesn't matter if you don't know the name of things, because actually you can find out about a plant. If you keep drawing things, you'll start to understand them anyway. And the leaves are very little near to it, I'm noticing. I've never drawn one of these before, and I'm noticing they're curled over, but the other leaves are a lot bigger. I might put one there, and it doesn't matter if I don't do them in exactly the same spot. I'm just having a bit of a look. And I might put a bigger leaf over here. You see, I'm not really going with my guidelines that much. They're just giving me a bit of an idea. And then I might turn it over and draw this one that's a paler colour. So I'm guessing, like I was saying, when you draw something you start to understand it. I'm guessing that this one's a bit older. It's been opened a bit longer. And look at that bit. That might be where something different was going on up the top there. I'm not a scientist. and I wasn't paying enough attention at school to remember a long time ago what that's called. But I know there'll be plenty of ways that you can find out, maybe if you look online. And then this one here looks even older. Look at that one. I think they're older because the colour's kind of, and it's sort of looking a bit like it's getting a bit rotten, and it's only got a couple of little bits on it. And then what about this one over here? That one's just only like the little cup bit at the bottom. Looks like the flower's fallen out, but then this middle bit's still there. So for me, I love to draw different stages of something. And another thing I really like doing is mixing up my colours and try and match the colours that I'm seeing. And then, oh, look in there. That must be a new one that's going to come. I wonder if you can see that. So I'm going to say newer. I think it's called a bud. And then bright flowering. And it's getting a bit old. A bit like me, getting a bit old and a bit wrinkly and spotty. And this one's in between. So the next thing that I use, which you might like, is this one. So that's a aqua brush. I can write that down. Aqua brush. And when you open up the aqua brush, you might be able to buy these online. One end of it's got the brush and the other end's like a little bottle where you can put water in, so you can keep filling it up. You see how there's some water in there? And then I will write down this as well, that's the fountain pen. And the reason I've got waterproof ink you'll see in a second, because the other thing I like to use is my lovely paint set. I'll put that there. And I'm going to turn it around so you can see the colours. So I might start with a little bit of the yellow. I'm going to try for this one here, so it's sort of a nice greeny yellow. And we could have a spot over here to try and mix the colours, but that's not bad. I've been practicing for a long time, so I'm pretty good with my colours. Pretty good. And I did forget something that you could do if you were fussy. You could rub out the, well, not even fussy, if you felt like it, you could rub out the pencil where you started. And you can see my pencil's in a very different spot than the ink. Come back here. So, what about, that one's a bit more murky, isn't it? It's a more of a murky colour. And that's, I've got it over here. And then I can see going down the stem, it sort of goes a bit more of a reddy colour. Maybe not quite that much. So you get the idea of what I'm doing. I've got, oh, this one's not a sort of a paler green. So we can get that sort of colour. It's a lovely thing, and it can take up a lot of time, but probably quite a few of you got quite a bit of time now to take up such a nice bit of time in your day. And where's that little one? Oh, that's the cup one. You can see I also use my hand to wipe things on, and my hand will get another good wash, don't you worry. We're getting lots of washes at the moment, everyone. You might slightly that colour on there. So you get the idea of what I'm doing, and I reckon it might just about be time for you to have a go, because you're probably going, oh, that looks fun, I might try that. I'll just put a bit of dark green in there. Not really that sort of green, is it? It's probably got a bit more blue in it. Maybe a bit darker. So you can see how I'm pretty loose with my colours and my lines, but that means that I'm having a nice time. If I start getting too exact with it, I'm probably not going to have such a nice time. So my suggestion is just do it in a relaxed, sketchy way rather than too much. And then if you want to come back, then you might, after that, do a more detailed one. Or you might just add a few little details, like I can see some sort of lines on there. Yeah. I could quite happily sit here for hours, like, working on this. Alright, I'm going to let you guys have a go now. And, enjoy. What do you think, little friend? Yep, I reckon that looks really fun. Have fun having a go. Bye. Bye.